Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to be doing an indie author book review, and the book I read this past week is Essence by Mandi Lynn, who is also a booktuber, and I will link her in the description below. So from the very beginning I was intrigued with this story. It starts off as a first-person present tense story, which is something so rare, and I don't even think I can tell you another book I've read that's like that. And the very first chapter starts with this character in the hospital with her parents. She's just been born, she has the umbilical cord wrapped around her throat, and she can't breathe. And it's so much imagery, and it's so beautifully written, and I automatically was in it. I was like, oh my gosh, I can't even believe what's happening. Like, I've never seen this type of perspective before, because it also gives the perspective of the baby, which I thought was super insightful and beautiful, because it's not something I would normally consider. After the hospital scene, we are with the 15-year-old. Her name's Emma, and she moves from Florida to New Hampshire with her family. And during this time, some weird things start happening, and the forest is calling her to it, and she's confused, having some bad dreams, not really sure what's happening or going on at the time. She makes a new friend at school, and things seem to be going okay besides the weird forest attraction that just keeps popping up. But eventually some things happen, and then there's this concept of an essence that comes about, and it is the coolest concept ever. Everything in this story is a really cool concept. So an essence is essentially someone who is stuck on Earth in a sort of purgatory state. They can't engage really with the living people who are left, and they're tied to this one central location called the Phantom Lagoon, where they always have to go back, and if they don't go back, then they have some really bad consequences, and no one really knows what happens after that, because they never come back if they stay out all night. So it's really interesting, and the entire time I was just intrigued, and I wasn't sure what was going on in the story. Well, I wasn't sure where the story was going to go or what was going to happen at the end of the story, but all of the beautiful imagery and everything that kept happening kept bringing me in, and I kept reading and kept reading. So I think it was a very insightful book, and it gives some awesome concepts. Like I told you, there's also a thing called a haunting, which I also found to be unique and original. So if you love stories that are unique and offer a different perspective and give you interesting concepts and beautiful imagery, I absolutely recommend reading Essence by Mandi Lynn, because it's going to open your eyes and make you think about how sometimes we take things for granted that we shouldn't take for granted. And this book was lovely. I finished it in I think a week, so that was nice, because I like to I'm trying to get as many books read as I can. So it's not that long of a read. I think it's 326 pages, and it's interesting. It's so interesting, and I promise you're not going to read a book like that. But I also have to say props to Mandi Lynn, because I read the very end of the story where it tells about the author. So Mandi actually, the money that was going to go to her first car, she used that to publish this book. So I commend you for that, Mandi. That is the coolest thing. It shows how dedicated you are as a writer. And she also, the cover art, from what I was understanding, is her. So I also think that's really cool. The cover art is beautiful, and I actually wondered at some point, I was like, I wonder if this is actually Mandi, because it's kind of got features like her, the dark hair, well, light brown, blondish hair thing going on. So I think that was awesome. And you don't find many authors who are that dedicated to their writing that they're actually going to give up getting that first car in order to publish their book. So I definitely recommend giving her YouTube channel a check out and reading the book yourself, because it's definitely worth the read. It's very insightful and beautiful. And that's all I've got for today.